Hey, good day, everybody. Dennis Wilburn, the Active Trend Trader. Welcome to this week's session of Trade Your Way to Wealth and Financial Freedom. The market was absolutely crazy this week, dropping from the sky on the war rumors, but then rebounding very hard over the last couple of days. Will the rally continue, or is this just a bear trap? You need to stay tuned to the rest of today's session to find out what our thoughts are. We do highlight 3 stocks you may want to add to your watch list that could be ready to buy as early as next week. Also, I'll show you some tips on how do you know when it's really ready to buy the new uptrend. But before we get started in today's session, remember, up in that corner, there'll be a drop down that talks about the AutoPilot Trading Service, and we're really pleased with the AutoPilot Trading Service. We are 15% above the S&P for the year so far, and we look forward for a continuation of that as we push onward and upward through the rest of 2022. So with no further ado, let's jump into today's session right now. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. This is Dennis Wilburn, Active Trend Trader. Welcome to Trade Your Way to Wealth and Financial Freedom. We're going to be talking about some stock picks today, some trading tips. I've got a really good trading tip for you about what is the best way to approach buying into what could be a market reversal and a rally attempt. Whether or not we want to buy that or not, I want to welcome our contributors. We've got Neil Parikh from Delaware. He leads the Delaware Meetup Group, and then Steve Farrar. If we ever get Hawaii back where we can actually take our mask off and enjoy our faces again, we may in fact have some meetings for the Honolulu IBD Meetup Group, or some semblance thereof. Welcome, Steve.
Nice to be here.
Hey, welcome, Anil.
Yeah, good to be here. This is great.
And so we're going to jump on to just what's going on here, and specifically start your week out with Trade Your Way to Wealth. We do the market index, market correction. The QR code you see on the left-hand side will basically take you to where you can get signed up for the Market Tech Talk website. That's the YouTube channel. And so invite your friends who could benefit from better stock picks. Believe it or not, there's a lot of folks out there who, in fact, could benefit from better stock picks. Matter of fact, you could maybe benefit from better stock picks. So let's go ahead. I love this quote by Leonardo da Vinci. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. A lot of times people turn up their nose at a simple trading system, thinking, oh, I need something that's, especially a lot of us engineers, we think we have to complicate things to make it better. And in reality, that's not true. A nice, solid, simple mechanical system will outperform a monkeyed up engineered system, time and time and time again. So here's where we're sitting as of about 9 o'clock this morning. As you can see, the white line there is my 40% per year transaction. That is my objective for the year. We busted above that with one more day left in the month of February. That's where we were sitting last week, and here's where we're sitting today. We're beating the S&P by about 14, almost 15%. So I'm very pleased with how things have been going this year so far with the AutoPilot Trading Service, and for both the top 5 stocks and the leverage ETFs. So what I want to do is jump in, and as we've done in the past, let's take a look at what stocks are being offered today. And I'm going to start with Steve's pick today. Steve, you sent me this, and I said, I like that stock. Of course, one of the reasons I like that stock is because I'm in that stock. And it is This has been a winner for us for quite some time, and it's doing really, really well again. So what can you tell us about Zim?
Well, I like it. It's in my view, a solid uptrend, and we recently had a pullback. If you were nimble, there was an entry yesterday. For today, I think it's too extended,
Okay.
and I would wait for a pullback for an entry if you're not already in.
Okay.
And part of the reason I feel that is the general market is in what I call a Wyckoff reaccumulation trading range.
Right.
And we're at a stage where we should retest the low that was just made.
Okay, I
So
agree.
I suspect the market will roll over and test that low on low volume. At that time, I'll be a full-fledged buyer.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, and just as a caveat, I am invested in this one. We did in fact trigger in yesterday with the AutoPilot Trading Service, and we triggered in right there.
Yeah, right to the breakout level from a month ago or so.
Yeah, it was the bounce off of the 50-day moving average.
Yeah.
And so actually with the system, we actually got in, closed out a third of the position for a 10% gain. And now I did do a projection for you, Steve, to the upside with this. And the projection is this Fibonacci here, a stretch from this, and this is a Fibonacci extension.
Right.
Because we're expecting a repeat of the symmetry of a move. So from this low to this high, and then we measure that from this swing low here, because I think we can count that as a valid swing low. And that gives us an upside, a couple upside targets. If it gets to 78% extension, we're up at $80.65. A full 100% symmetric move puts us up at a little bit about above 85. So that's got lots of juice left in it, and I agree on waiting for a little bit of a pullback. I like it.
So it's a good sector. Matson is another one in this sector, but it's way more extended than.
Yeah, and Matson's, of course, near and dear to our heart over here in Hawaii. But yeah, I saw Matson was just going like a bat.
It was crazy, yeah.
So, okay, great pick. And the other thing, if you're an option trader, this one does have weekly options. Let's run over and take a look at the indexes, and then we'll come back and look at Anil's pick. So what are we looking at? Well, basically, a couple of different things that I kind of like. Now, as far as a tip, okay, we had an intraday lower low yesterday. Prices basically opened all the way down here and then bounced up. Now we know that let's say the invasion of Russia of the Ukraine is causing some consternation. However, we were anticipating it. The futures were basically way down here. That's where it opened. And the buyers were just sitting there waiting. I mean, they were just sitting there waiting because it corresponds with what? Look to your left, a past level of supply. So we know that so past level of demand where it broke out of before. So buyers came in, pushed it up hard yesterday, and now we've had a continuation today. So we'll count this as a rally attempt day, and we're into day one of the of counting down to a potential follow-through day. What am I looking at on this? Well, one, I've got some really, I've got a couple of excellent items to show you. Is one, as we were coming down here to make a new low, what was happening with the momentum indicators? Nice positive divergence. Nice positive divergence on all three of them. I've started adding in the MACD, folks, simply because a lot of people who do not trade the Thinkorswim platform do not have access to the market forecast. And so MACD may bring a little bit more clarity for you, but I'll leave that in there. So I'm not looking at trading the spiders, but we have to also treat this as what? A rally attempt back up into the moving averages. We are still below the 200-day moving average. And so it would not surprise me to see this go ahead and rally on up to about the 200, or it may stop at the 20, go back, as Steve was saying, retest back towards the low. Doesn't have to get all the way down into the low, but a retest towards the low. Have a very nice
The key
hammer.
there also, and the key, I think, is it ought to do it on low volume.
Yes.
Supply
Yeah.
should not come in. Yeah.
We have a hammer on the weekly chart. Again, the market forecast has started to turn up. And if we close right where we are today, the histogram on the market forecast, or correction, on the MACD has ticked up a little bit. And the downtrend on the TSI has also come down, has also started to tick up a little bit. One of the things you can do is a couple of the points, wait for the momentum shift, and especially wait for the momentum shift totally. Now, sometimes the shift is just a little bit, it stops going down as fast. That's the initial part of it. But then you can also just lay in this is what I love about the TSI. I can lay in a chart here. As soon as that's broken to the upside, that's my confirmation I've had a total momentum shift. So we have to know market's in correction. We want to wait. If you have to trade, trade small. Okay, don't throw out a full position out there. So be careful, be cautious, and make sure that you're absolutely crystal clear on what's going to trigger you into the trade. And that's something you can rehearse and go over and over. What is your trigger to get into the trade? And of course, with the active trend trade members, you know what we do because you have our rules. And so that's what I've got with the spider. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Qs. Q's still looking a little bit weaker. Remember, we are still below the 200-day moving average. It's a great time to go, but isn't it interesting how price action came back down almost to exactly to the projection here of the this is the 1272 extension to the downside. Almost made it to that, but then we reverse back up. Look to your left again. There's demand over here from past moves. Took the price action back up. A really nice looking hammer. Now, the way to trade this hammer on the weekly charts, folks, is that whole wick constitutes a levels of or a zone of support where you may get a price pullback into the midsection of that. Let's say the 3330 level, which is the past low from that candlestick right there, or even down into the deeper into that. I would wait, I would be looking at a deeper pullback at least with a reversal off of my intraday chart, hourly or 30-minute, and then move to trade it from there. I like the Qs, but again, the Qs, everything is stacked to the downside. This market is not out of the woods yet. That's one thing I will leave it with you. But remember, the individual stocks that will, result in the next, big bull market will start emerging before the markets actually finish their correction. So that's what I've got. I will come back to the Russell, the IWM, but let's take a look at Anil's stock. Again, this is, what is this? Nucor.
Nucor.
Tell us about it, Anil.
This one actually showed up on my system as a buy yesterday, and I haven't bought it yet, and it's showing a nice upward movement today.
Okay.
Fundamentals are very strong, and I expect to buy this now, I think, on a little bit of pullback, and maybe you can lay the fib here, and if you are going to buy it here, where would you buy? I'm looking for a buy at a pullback.
That's a great question. Okay, a couple of things we have here, and I'll just lay these in here really quick, is we have a breakout going. But it isn't a real clean, I mean, it's a clean breakout, but we have a couple of items here. We've got a high here, we've got a high here. Now these are wick highs. That's a wick high there. So wick highs, what I'm talking about is the wick on the candlestick are not as strong as body highs. In other words, we know that the body of the candle actually got up there and painted a picture. So we know, so I drew that zone in there for you. And so I would be looking for a pullback, probably back into at least that high right there. And I'll throw a fib on there just in a second. I will throw a fib on there to figure out where that is per se. But if I took a trade there, let me go ahead and get this about that level right there, and it slipped down, and I would make the low of today's candle, kind of if I took a trade there, the low of today's candle, a little bit below it, or the 8-day moving average, I would let that be, a close below that would be my get out of the trade. So that's about 3.6%. Let's go ahead and just whip this over here really quick and take a look at what's going on. As you see here with the half-hour chart, this is a half-hour chart. It is extended. It's saying, don't buy me yet. I would throw on a fib, just a straight fib on this, from the high to the low, and start looking. The magic fib box comes into play down here at about the 122.9, 90 mark, down to that mark out. However, again, I'm looking for a pullback into this zone here. So I still like that candle right there. 124, 125, with a stop below one, I would say drop back down here. You could also just say, hey, if give me an alert if it drops the 125, that's this fib here, and an alert here at this fib. And so if it does blow down here, I could basically look to try to pick it up off of those levels. It gets me closer to my risk, reduces my risk. Does that help?
Yes, that helps, because I usually don't buy breakouts. And this had on a daily chart, it had a signal actually a few days ago.
Right.
And yesterday, it threw the signal on the weekly chart, and now it's just moving too fast.
Yeah, and see the fib right here, that Fibonacci right there, which is this one right here. That's about the midsection of this big green candle. So anytime you can look for a half back on a big green candle, or a big green, or a big red candle, that oftentimes is a great place to at least initiate a partial position.
But I would add one caveat. I wouldn't take that partial position unless the market remains, it does not turn. As the market rolls over and that sets up, I wouldn't take the trade.
Okay.
Yeah, to me, the two have to be in sync. The market is looking strong, then I would take buy signals here.
And so,
yeah.
And basically, I agree. At the same time, I recognize that these are two significant buy,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so, and again, it's part of individuals' rules. And right. I'll utilize one of my entry technique is just if I get a large, green candle like this, a pullback down in the midsection, and then a continuation from there happens a high probability of the time. Hey, Warren. So great. So Anil, so we answered all the questions?
Yeah, super. Thank you. And just for your information, my system is picking up new stocks. Today it's Fortinet and ON, both are buy signals.
Well, now don't give away all the secrets yet. Let's say real quick at the Russell IWM. Russell's actually performing quite well. And again, we have a hammer on the weekly chart, but guys, that really isn't, I mean, it looks like a hammer, but it's not a hammer at the end of a downtrend. We had 4 weeks of just kind of slicing up. Then we came back and retested the low, and then we're bouncing up from there. However, we are breaking out of this flag pattern here. So I kind of like, I almost am liking, it is below the 200, but it looks like the Russell is being more constructive in its formation than the other indexes.
I agree.
And I mean, look at the momentum indicators starting to shape up on the weekly chart. And whenever you get these momentums that are coming off the bottom of the weekly chart, oftentimes that will lead to a very powerful move. And so anyway, so that's what we're looking to push on up through. Again, where would I look at buying this right now? I would probably look towards a halfway pullback of the last couple of days, which would actually put me down to about there. You know, pick it up at a 195, 196 for a option trade, or you could actually turn that over and buy the. Let me get my. And of course, it's not showing up here. You could actually turn over and buy like TNA or something like that to the upside. And so, okay, that's what we've got with that. So let's go ahead and take a look at what I'm looking at trading. And yeah, Barry, I see, and if we have time, which we're kind of running kind of short, we'll see if we can take a real quick run through on those two stocks. And this session is not actually designed for that. We do individual stock run through with a premium session that starts at 12 noon Pacific time. So my stock is, and Neil already mentioned it, on. It's looking one. It has weekly options. It is on semiconductor. Really looks nice from basically it came down and tested this little uptrend line. A nice bullish engulfing of this downtrend here and is actually broken out. We can draw a trend line here. So it has broken out. But the volume's a little bit weak today. But I would look at, I'm going to be looking at trading this if we pull back towards about somewhere between 61 and the 50-day moving average. The moving average now we back above all the moving averages, looks very positive to the upside. Looking for an upside target of here, 67 or even up here at 69. And then I would lay on some, is that 69 or 70? Yeah, actually 71. 71. I really like this. I will wait till Monday because I think it could lend itself to a really nice option trade here that could have a good, strong run with earnings coming up on the 2nd of May. So that's my stock pick for the day, this week. Thoughts?
Looks good. I agree.
Okay.
I would agree completely. Many stocks are looking like these.
Oh, yeah.
But I think they're a little extended after 2 days to be buying right now. Yeah.
It is a target-rich, as I like to say, it is a target-rich environment right now. Yeah. And so I will take a real quick look at Barry else could take a look at FTNT. Looks
similar.
Yeah, I think it probably does.
Yeah, they both showed up on my system today about an hour ago.
FTNT, similar thing. This is a huge buy moment here. Again, I would measure this, down. Is it breaking out of the trend line? That's what I have. The question I have, right, and the answer to that is no.
Almost, yeah.
Almost, and so it's got some junk to get back through. It's got some supply up here that people are going to be selling off as it moves up. But other than that, it's starting to reverse up to the upside really nicely. on
One
the,
comment I would make here, yesterday's bar is what we call a key reversal. We made a lower low and a lower higher high, and we closed higher on increasing volume. That's very strong technically.
yes,
Yeah.
I agree. And so no ETFs on this. Anil, you got any comments on FTNT?
No, as I said, it just showed up strong. The fundamentals are strong with comp 96 and accumulation distribution is good. So
Okay.
Yeah.
I know it's on my top 5 running list also. And then who? Did you mean who? Barry? I'm not familiar with who.
Anil, was it? No.
Anil?
No, he didn't mean who. He mean the other stock that Anil mentioned.
Okay.
FTNT and what? Yeah.
and the same stock that Dennis had, ON.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. ON. So, hey, I just want to draw a really quick attention to you. I am not a trader of Tesla yet, but in my on the radar session on Wednesday, I basically sent this out and I highlighted a couple of things. I highlighted, and Wednesday was this day right here, right there. I highlighted and I drew these Fibonacci's in on Wednesday, and they came right down to here. And I said, watch what Tesla may do at the 78 and or the 100. That may be where it bounces from. And sure enough, where did it bounce from? And the other thing I want to highlight is anytime you have a Fibonacci that corresponds with a past level of supply or demand, that makes it, and I think it increases the viability at that point and makes a very strong level. Now, of course, over here in the islands, I am not up and into the market first thing in the morning, because this was basically opened here and ran up almost all day long. So now it puts me in a caveat of practicality is I'm waiting for a retest of this low again. But Tesla may set us up for a pullback down into, let's say, 750 to 745, and then that might give us an opportunity to go ahead and jump on something to the upside. So anything else, gentlemen?
Nope.
Anil?
I think we've covered it.
That is it. We covered it, and let's see what it does.
Okay. So hey, remember that all the materials we do present are for training purposes. Traders should always pay for trade any new method prior to the risk of their own personal capital. And then, do you struggle with this? Do you spend more than 2 hours a week trying to find strong stocks? And when at the end of that 2 hours, you still haven't found a great trade for this weekend, for the next week? Well, if that sounds familiar, AutoPilot Trading may be for you, and this will tell you why. And you can find out more about it at this website right here, or I'll just throw up a picture take a quick snapshot of that with your mobile phone of that QR code, and it'll take you right to find out more about the AutoPilot Trading Service. So remember, 2022, patience and persistence. We had our struggles, we had our challenges in 2021 with the COVID virus and all that type of thing. Now it looks like we are facing a whole new slew of challenges going into 2022. It's going to be very interesting because this is an election year. I'm looking for 2022 to get really quite crazy before the year is over. So anyway, Stephen and Neil, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will.
My pleasure.
And I think we covered some good stuff today. So aloha, trade well, and prosper. Mahalo, as we say over here, and God bless everybody. See you next week.